Thought that after the war the Nazis erased the history books they tell of their defeat in 45. They all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat, whilst Hess remained in prison and the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots, the maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance, and those who died for liberty.
Come all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell, of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I was born in the Dublin street where the lion runs do beat, and the lovely English people walked all over us. And every single night when the dad would come home tight, he'd invite the neighbours out with his chorus. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Callaway from the green and lovely lace of Gilshandra.
Hello there, everyone. I will forego my usual irreverent start to proceedings because we have some genuinely tragic news. I apologise that this news has to be brought to you through the hum of fans that are turned on. Because it's very, very hot, and so the fans have to be on, and I apologise for that because this is a solemn moment. Just need to compose myself. This is a national treasure is gone. Chat. Oh, for fuck's sake. That's that ruined. Brilliant. Right, compose yourself, Logan. British journalist Rod Liddle is dead. No. Now, some people may not know who this man was. And unfortunate you are to have not been blessed with this towering intellect. A man who took a well-trodden path from a Trotskyist in his youth to a far-right lunatic in his elder years. Like so many Trotskyists before him, of course. A writer for the Daily Telegraph, the Sunday Times, the Sun newspaper in quotation marks, and of course the Spectator, the right-wing rag de jour. A man of...
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
If only that was so, Gennaro, if only that was so. I apologise. I apologise, chat, for leaving the alert box on. How fucking uncouth. I am delivering a sincere eulogy, and I apologise profusely. Deeply disappointed with myself. And shame on you for giving money at a time like this. You fucking monster. Rod Liddle was a man with certain foibles, I think it could be said. Not a perfect human being, but then again, who is? A man who famously cut short the honeymoon of his first wife and the mother of his two children to start an affair with another woman. That's right, the woman who had given him two children. He married her, and on their honeymoon he came home early to fuck another woman. He then married that woman, and while she was pregnant with another of his children, he punched her in the fucking face. He punched his heavily pregnant second wife in the face. That is a thing that happened. A thing that I can say, not just because he is no longer with us and therefore can't really sue me, but even his estate could not possibly sue me. because he literally admitted to doing it. Like he literally pled guilty to the charge of common assault, I believe was the exact wording, but he punched a heavily pregnant woman in the face, as you do. Oh, I forgot to say also, the woman that he cheated on, that first wife, he decided, even though he was the one that cheated, he described that wife as a slut and slattern, which means an untidy or dirty woman, in the press. Even though he was the one that cut short their honeymoon to fuck another woman. Again, not a perfect person, you know? I'm not going to pretend he was a perfect human being. Also, I think it would be remiss of me not to comment on one of his more controversial aspects of his work, I think. His noted advocacy for pedophilia, kind of, a bit. He did write a newspaper column about how it shouldn't be illegal to watch child pornography. That's a thing he did whilst he was alive. Because, you know, it's Britain, isn't it? You know. Yeah, so there's that. And in case you were wondering what he did in his later years, he then, in 2024, stood at the general election for the rapidly transphobic SDP party. Although I did just say Social Democratic Party, but you get the idea. Thankfully, he'd lost his deposit, so, you know, lol. But, you know, like I say, a person, a human being, a fallible human being, chat. Okay? So I want you all to join me in a moment of quiet, respectful, sincere contemplation of the life now snuffed out at the age of just 66 of Rod Liddell. Thank you, chat. Thank you for that well observed, beautiful, moving fuck eulogy to an awful piece of shit. I'm glad he's dead. Well, you say no crab costume, seamstress. Can you prove I'm not wearing the crab costume? Can you prove it? No, you fucking can't. Okay? I can prove, because he admitted to it, that this man punched his pregnant wife in the fucking face. Because that's a thing he admitted to doing. Because he did it and he was guilty of it. But you can't prove I'm not wearing the crab costume, so just saying. Didn't know him remotely. Was I lucky? Yes. Blissfully unaware of this man's presence on the earth, only becoming aware of him after he had left it. What a wonderful life you have led. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. And in that case, Rod Liddell must have been the most blissful cunt to have ever existed. But there we go. Oh! Chat. It's been a hot minute. It's been a hot minute since we got the old crab dance out, and I'm glad we did. I did not kill Rod Liddell, okay? Rod Liddell's liver killed Rod Liddell. Because Rod Liver had kidneyed the fuck out of his own liver, so... He was an alcoholic! Possibly. When they say, died after a short illness, his fucking liver exploded. Let's be honest, that's what happened there. Sam Cedar killed him, almost certainly. What a fucking nightmare. Can we go through the Lee Stewart Rod Liddle routine? Does he have a routine about him? I don't remember this. Oh my god, apparently there is. And apparently people have been searching it so much today that it's one of the things that first pops up when you type in Stuart Lee. Is it the one that's... Is it Stuart Lee's company vehicle, Hogwarts Bukkake? Is that the one? I don't know. We're having a look either way. I hadn't remotely planned on doing this today, but here we are. Always up for a bit of Stuart Lee. Ah! There we go. Fucking hell. That was a lot more stressful than it needed to be. Thank you to... a noise happened because it interrupted me trying to pretend to grieve for Rob Little. Thank you, Doc I, for becoming a member, and thank you, Carl Brown, for gifting a couple of cheeky memberships on the YouTube, and thank you to... Who is that? It won't tell me what the name of this person is that sent the message. It just... All I know is it's got the letter D. Why is that? Why do I have to make the screen bigger for it to tell me? Here we go. Oh, it's Doc I again. Apologies. For some reason it wasn't telling me your name. Anyway, it says... Liddle was too racist for Millwall fans. Is that possible? Is there such a thing as being too racist for Millwall? Here we go. He was definitely Nancy as fuck, this guy, right? So here's another thing he wrote in The Spectator, as you do. I never found out, because the one thing stopping me from being a teacher was that I could not remotely conceive of not trying to shag the kids. That means to have sex with the children. It seemed to me virtually impossible not to, and I was convinced that I'd be right in there on day one. We're talking secondary school level here, by the way, and even then I don't think I'd have dabbled much lower than year 10, as it's now called. I just thought we ought to be clear early on. That's still pederasty? You're still fucking children, Rod. Oh, you're dead. Who cares? Lol. Yeah, no, he was very nonsense.
On a Tuesday afternoon about 6 months back, and a woman was coming along the road towards me. I thought that is a very beautiful woman. I mean, even though you're married, you can't shut down that part of your aesthetic appreciation, you know, of people. Then as she got nearer to me, I realised it was actually my wife, which is a very funny thing to happen. And I thought, oh, what an amazing thing to mistake a stranger, to not know who that stranger was, to find that stranger attractive, and then to realise that it was your wife. It's a great thing to happen. But then she lifted up her arms, this beautiful woman, my wife, and she said, you were supposed to defrost that ham pie. Why couldn't you even defrost the ham pie? Now we'll have to take the kids to Nando's again. Tax breaks for married people are great, aren't they? They're worth up to £70 per person per year. With that money, you can buy an HBO box set, and then you never need to talk to each other in the evenings. And no, I haven't seen Breaking Bad. I haven't seen Breaking Bad. I don't need to watch hundreds of hours of television about an educated man who supports his family by doing something he knows is beneath him.
That is an exceptional joke.
Now, earlier this year, my wife insisted I have a vasectomy. I don't know why. she'd be the first to admit there wasn't really any pressing need. But what you will find, if you... You like that, do you? Like that Charlie Chaplin shit? I'll tell you,
It's so funny to me that Charlie Chaplin has become like a symbol of low-grade comedy, because in his day he was the most cutting-edge shit in the world. He was like a genius of his time, you know? But now it's just seen as like slapstick comedy. It's mad.
if you've enjoyed that, if you've enjoyed that, if you're a viewer at home and you've enjoyed that, there's no more like that in this episode. Turn off now. But if you've been married for a long time, you will find your partner ceases to view you as a sexual being. I've been married 10 years.
Is this the bit? Can someone tell me, is this the bit about Rod Liddle at any fucking point? Is this the actual bit that's like... Because someone said, watch the bit about Rod Liddle. And I don't know if this is the bit at all. Yeah.
Years now. Now, 9 years ago, I've been married 1 year, and I went off on tour, and while I was on tour, I ran out of pants. Now, like a lot of men, I don't really know where my pants come from. I always seem to have loads, but I don't remember ever having bought any. So I bought some pants in Lincoln, went home, 1 year of marriage, new pants, and my wife said to me, "Oh, you've bought new pants. Are you having an affair?" In a sort of sarcastic way, which was funny, but it was also nice because it suggested in her mind I was still a sexual possibility. See what I mean? Now, last year, I've been married 10 years, I went off on tour, I ran out of pants, and I bought some new pants in Bovey Tracy, and I got back to London, 10 years of marriage, new pants, and my wife said to me, "Oh, you've bought new pants. Did you shit yourself at work?" I mean, I had done, but it was a coincidence. Now, earlier this year, our cat was walking around with a parasitical worm hanging out of his anus. To be honest, I envied him that level of intimacy. And my daughter, who's 2, she saw the parasitical worm hanging out of the cat's anus, and she said to me, "Dad, what is the point of that worm? Why is it alive?" And I said to her, "Well, I suppose the point of a parasitical worm is to stay alive long enough to mate and reproduce and make more versions of itself." And she said to me, "Oh, what's the point of you then, Dad? You've had a vasectomy. Why are you still alive?" She'd been reading my Wikipedia page. My wife updates it. And I thought, you know what, I find it quite offensive. I'm much better than a parasitical worm, you know. For a start, I don't live in a cat's anus. I live in Hackney. And then I thought, you know what, maybe she's right. I mean, what's the point of me? What, if you're a impotent, vasectomised 45-year-old functioning alcoholic father of 2, there's not really any point in you, is there? You're a waste of air, a waste of space. You're pointless. You're like a 3-week-old choc gradually going green in a hot room, or a Amstrad Games console, or Vernon Kay. If you're an impotent, vasectomised, 45-year-old functioning alcoholic father of 2, the best you can hope for, I think, is you just drop dead in the streets, and maybe flies will lay their eggs in your eyes, and if maggots hatch out, then you're part of the cycle of life. Why do the kids ask me these depressing questions? I read my 6-year-old son the myths of the Norse gods in an attempt to neutralise my wife's Catholicism. And earlier this year he said to me, Dad, he said, is Thor a goodie or a baddie? And I said, he's neither. He's a chaotic individual, driven by pride, shame and lust, who embodies an essential moral relativism. And he said to me, oh, so he's like you then.
At some level, you're not just shitting on your own.
Is this about Rod Liddle at all?
Been unfaithful or something, I'm going to get a $12.99 bottle of wine. That's the kind of guy I'm a $12.99 bottle of wine kind of guy. I took the $12.99 bottle of wine up to the guy on the counter, and he looked down at it, and he said to me, that's the best wine in the shop. You have good taste, sir. And just making chit-chat, just friendly banter, I said to him, I'll tell my wife you said that. I said, she'll be very surprised to find out that I've got good taste, just making sort of chit-chat banter with the bloke. And then he said, yes, bitches. You try and do your best for women, but they all just run us down. The fucking bitches. That's a little bit I like to call when polite conversation goes wrong. Now, if you're an impotent, vasectomised 45-year-old funk...
This is nothing to do with Rod Liddle. I've been led astray, chat. I have been led astray. So let's get on to something way more depressing. Way more fucking depressing. Rupert Lowe. Before we got onto Stuart Lee, my segue was going to be from one right-wing prick who is dead to one I hope will die soon, or something like that. Some really horrible segue. Just for legal reasons, I was not threatening anybody there. A wish is not a threat or an action or whatever. Hoping that an old man dies is uncouth, to be sure. It is not legally actionable, so leave me the fuck alone. Anyway, Rupert Lowe, former chairman of Southampton Football Club, bizarrely enough, where he employed several immigrants as footballers on exorbitant wages. Anyway, he got elected as a Reform Party. Now, try and stay with me on this, because I'm going to probably mix it up myself as well. But there are two political parties being discussed here. There is the Restore Party and the Reform Party. Very similar, okay? Rupert Lowe's party are the Restore Party. Nigel Farage's party are the Reform Party. That is the distinction. Now, 'twas not always so, though, because Rupert Lowe was elected as a Reform Member of Parliament. Fell out with Nigel Farage, was kicked out of that party and formed the Restore Party. Restore UK are backed by the richest human being that's ever lived, Elon, fucking breeding king rape face, Musk. Although, is he less creepy than his dad? Who's to say? He's about as racist, you know, as white South Africans tend to be, unfortunately, as you do. Anyway, the illegal immigrant Elon Musk is bankrolling the Restore Party with Rupert Lowe. And to say it's not gone supremely well, it would just be true. It just hasn't. The recent Manchester mayoral by-election, the Reform Party didn't do well, but the Restore Party were absolutely fucking dreadful. They were expected to be sort of competitive, and they really fucking weren't. So naturally, Rupert Lowe, leader of the Restore Party, wants to put out the olive branch to his former colleague, former party leader, etc., to try and unite the right. And again, it has not gone well. I'm not even going to bring up the Reclaim Party, because that's just too many situation, you know what I mean? Like, it's already complicated enough with two identically named fucking parties. If we bring in Lawrence Fox's Reclaim Party, like, basically, if you're a far right party, it has to start with the letters R and E and be 2 syllables. That's the only thing they can handle. Like with MAGA in America. You can't handle more than the 4 letters. Anyway, so this dickhead decided to take his kicking in Manchester and turn it into this.
Nigel.
By the way, you've got to love the music over the top. High production values. Low moral values, but high production values.
When we were both elected at the general election in July 2024, the 5 of us all knew that we had achieved something truly remarkable through starting the process of breaking the 2-party system that has strangled...
By accepting loads of Tories? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
...and suffocated Britain for so very long. It was a special moment, and it was an honour to walk into that building as part of our group of 5 MPs. I treasured that then, and despite everything, I still treasure it today. However, now in 2026, we're in a very different place. The landscape has changed dramatically. Our differences over the last 18
Great cut from the editor there.
months are well documented. I do not agree
Sometimes may be
with how
good,
you
sometimes
remove
may
me
be
from
shit.
reform.
Ref/Rees, there's no news in truth, no truth in news.
True, not really, Rachel. True! Thank you for the donation. Much love.
But let's not recycle those same arguments again and again.
Okay, but you did start off the video by recycling that. You didn't need to at all.
I want to move past that. The country we both love is changing beyond recognition.
What, Israel? Oh no, he means Britain, sorry. Okay.
Millions of people feel like strangers in their own communities. They work hard.
You could say we've become an island of strangers, Mr. Powell.
Pay their taxes, obey the law, and yet they see no fair reward for any of that. They see a patriotic right hopelessly divided. They see...
It is hilarious. You're quite right, it is very funny. Yeah. Did someone... I was sort of half... I was half sort of watching it whilst preparing. Did someone in chat say that Navarra had a really bad take on immigration or some shit today? I'd be happy to have a watch of that as well at some point if someone remembers saying that. I don't know.
Hard work punished and indolence rewarded. That is why today I'm reaching out to put personalities and our past disagreements aside for the good of the country we all so want to succeed.
Israel. Oh, so no, you're still on about Britain. My bad.
To ask one simple question. How can we restore Britain? If we agree on 5 fundamental principles, then I believe we can, should, and must find a way of working together in some form to make it a reality. Reform has taken a path that has moved its core offering away from what I believe is necessary to restore our country.
Basically, the only thing they disagree on, it seems to me, is whether Nigel Farage is a big poopy head, and should they lie about how much they want to deport people. Farage being on the we should definitely lie and hide our power level and pretend we're not going to just deport loads of people because they're brown, and this twat being like, oh no, we should just tell the truth and be like, we want to kill all the brown people. Actually, that would be cool. Yeah, awesome. Can we fire them out of a catapult? Can we build a big massive catapult on the White Cliffs of Dover and just fire them at France like little human darts? I think is actually one of his policies.
On many issues, we agree. On others, we do not. But I'm hopeful that a common way forward can be found and forged. But any agreement or cooperation must be based on the following values, policies, and vision. First.
So here are his core values upon which he is not prepared to waver.
Restoring our borders. Ending mass immigration is not enough. The hour is just too late for that. It must be reversed. As you know, Restore Britain has taken the unprecedented step of publishing the most comprehensive deportation policy ever produced.
It's just fascism. They're literally just doing fascism. Yeah. That's it. Just getting rid of brown people. That's where the right is at right now. That's how fucking extreme they've gotten. That like a common talking point now isn't just, oh, we have some concerns about immigration. It's now, can we kick out all of the brown people, please? Please, 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 please. That would be awesome. Yay. Like, this cunt sits in Parliament, you know?
In British politics. That plan must be implemented in full and to the letter. Every illegal migrant must be deported, and yes, that must include women and children. Our plan has
so they care about women and girls as long as they're white. Okay.
Outlined exactly how that can be achieved within one parliament. You previously stated that mass deportations are a political impossibility. Not only
yeah, basically, yeah, pretty much.
Must mass deportations become a political possibility, mass deportations must become a political inevitability. They must
so it's just fascism, yeah.
All go. Legal immigration has caused even more damage.
There you go. The right's nonsense about it's illegal immigration we've got a problem with. Honest. You just don't like brown people. You just don't like brown people, mate. Just fucking say it. Honestly, I think this guy might be the first person to drop an N-word in Parliament. It might happen.
Restore Britain's policy is simple but sound. If a foreign national is living in Britain, yet unable to speak English, refuses to work, lives in social housing, hates our way of life, or even wants to do us harm, they have abused our generosity, are incompatible with our high trust society, and they
high trust society, there we go. For those who don't know, that's a fascist talking point. They love going on about high trust society. Firstly, these cunts do not trust the people around them. They hate the people around them. As much as they may claim to be patriotic, they don't seem to like any of the people of Britain or any of the things about Britain. That's interesting. And secondly, it just means white people get on with white people. And if brown people don't do exactly as we want them to, we're just going to deport them. Also, I've met plenty of people who were born here who can't speak English very well. Just saying, like, have you seen the people that attend your fucking rallies? Have you seen the people that follow the likes of you and Tommy Robinson? It's an old clip, but it's a belter. Always a good opportunity to get this one out.
There's a sense of incoherent anger. People are angry, but they can't explain why.
Hello, sir, and why are you here today?
I'm here to protest, right? Because I'm going on a march because I want Britain to be back British.
This person functionally doesn't actually speak proper English. He doesn't, right? And I'm not just having a go at Northerners or whatever. This person does not have conversational English. I want Britain to be about British is not a sentence in English. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Now, we know what he means. We know what he means by that, okay? Because we do have good English. So we can actually speak and sort of pass that out. But this person is a quote-unquote native-born British, but a white person. From England. And functionally, he does not actually speak English. Okay?
I want Britain to be back British. We've got interracial law. And the Muslimic infidel, they're trying to get their law over our country. And it is happening. It's happening in other countries. Everything, it's happening in every country. It's like...
You see, that's not English. But, you know what is English? Banging tunes.
People are angry, but they can't explain why.
Hello, sir, and why are you here today?
I'm here to protest, right? I'm going on a march, because I want Britain to be back British. I want Britain to be back British. I'm going on a march, because I want Britain to be back British. I want Britain to be back British. Got interracial law, and the Muslimic infidel. They're trying to get their law over our country. And it's
Get ready for the chorus, people. It's a banger.
It's happening in every country. It's like
you got Muslimic Reagans. Reagans. You got Muslimic Reagans. Reagans.
You got Muslimic Reagans. Muslimic Reagans. You got Muslimic Reagans.
Reagans. You've got Muslimic Reagans. Fuck yes. So, do we deport him as well? Where do we deport him to? Exactly, Rupert. I mean, let's be honest. He died with a fucking needle in his arm in an alleyway, fucking 15 years ago. Let's be honest. That's where he ended up. But if he were alive somehow, where the fuck are we sending that cunt to? Exactly. What's he trying to say? I think he's trying to talk about Muslimic rape gangs. But again, he doesn't speak English. Functionally, he does not speak English. And he's not a unique case, not by a long shot. You meet people like that all the time. They speak appalling English. Now, that's partly a societal problem. It's partly the education system letting them down. It's partly repeated governments of both stripes, both Labour and Tory, and indeed the Lib Dems thrown in there in the coalition years, who have let those types of people down. They're not offering them education, they're not offering them gainful employment, so they seek redress in stupid ways. By blaming the Muslimic Reagans. So fucking ludicrous are they that they can't even say the thing they don't understand. Anyway. Thank you, Miss Hire, for resubscribing with 54 months of Prime. And thank you to Phil Decker. We are on a hype train. We're on a hype train over on the Twitch machine. If you want to keep the hype train going, you know what to do for it to choo-choo. we get to level 2 of the hype train, I will finger that man's corpse, because he is definitely dead. He definitely died of a crack overdose or some shit. He was ketted off his fucking nut and froze to death, or choked to death on his own vomit or something. I guarantee it.
Should be made to return to their own countries. There will be those in reform who do not agree with the robust nature of such measures, but I believe it is entirely necessary. Millions must go. Second.
Do you mean, when you say millions must go, do you mean like the millions of pounds you wasted on transfers at Southampton because you couldn't run a football club for shit, you fucking loser? Or are you talking about human beings? Like, honestly, I would trade one of them for 1 million of you. You can fucking do one, mate. Hey, hello, a couple of Burks. I was in your chat earlier. Everyone go and follow a couple of Burks. They do good streams and that.
Restoring our demographic security. It is projected
demographic security. Literally, it's just the BMP. He's just doing BMP cosplay. That's what this is. That's all he's doing. Demographic security. So just white people. He just means white people.
That white Britons will become a minority by 2063.
I mean, firstly, how are you making that projection? 2063, so 40 years in the future, you think you can do that? Hang on. I'm setting up a thing. It's going to be very funny. If this fucking advert ever ends, a 20-second advert, and there are 2 of the cunts, fuck off YouTube, you cunts. Honest to God. The Muslimic infidel. Let's go back.
Demographic security. It is projected that white Britons will become a minority by 2063.
Woohoo! It's a celebration.
Nothing demonstrates the demographic vandalism of mass immigration more than that. Importing millions of people from third world nations is changing our population in a way none of us ever wanted or voted to support. It is unacceptable.
Not really true, unfortunately. Not really true at all. Okay? People can say, oh, we voted for lower immigration. If the Tories are always offering you low immigration and then deliver the highest immigration we've ever fucking seen, and you continue to vote for them, I'm sorry, you are voting for that. I know the Tories are lying to you constantly, but you know they're lying to you, and you ignore that, which means you are voting for higher immigration. That is just true. The Tories are the most successful democratic political party on earth. Okay? Even now, at their fucking pit, they're still hovering around the 17, 18, 19% mark in the polls. So, nearly 1 in 5 people will still vote for them after they let a fucking million people in. I'm sorry, at that point, you are tacitly approving of high immigration. You just fucking are. You can claim otherwise all you like till you're blue in the face, but clearly you're absolutely fine with the high immigration as long as you also get the other awful shit the Tories promise. If you continue to vote for the same political party over and over again that does the same thing over and over again, you are endorsing that.
And it cannot be allowed to happen. We must be unafraid to grasp that nettle. However painful the establishment backlash may be, Restore Britain has committed to reversing the Islamification of Britain, and that will not change. The level.
Honestly, just to annoy these people, I want the Islamification of Britain to be real. It's not. They made it up. It's nonsense. It's a scare tactic. But I want it to be real just to annoy him. Like I said, if the Muslims did somehow take over, I can be the white convert guy with the ginger beard. I'm sorted. I'm fine.
The level of influence that Islam is exerting, even now, on our Christian way of life is unacceptable.
What Christian way of life? What are you talking about? Nobody goes to church here. Not a single cunt goes to any fucking churches. What are you talking about? Christian way of life. This isn't the Middle Ages.
Any future cooperation must include the banning of both halal and kosher slaughter, the burqa, cousin
Amazing.
marriage, mass dominating public Islamic prayer.
You're not even allowed to. So you want a curtailment of religious freedom, is basically what you're saying. You don't want Muslims to be able to pray in public. So basically, a complete authoritarian crackdown on religious freedom. Amazing. He used to call himself a libertarian, don't you know?
Sharia courts and any other barbaric foreign practices that have no place.
I mean, don't even get me started. But interesting that you're going after Sharia courts, but not Beit Din courts, which is the Jewish equivalent of that, or any other religious courts of arbitration, which have existed in Britain for 200 years. Come on. How long before Richard Dawkins endorses Restore? It wouldn't surprise me if he did. Because if you scroll down... Where is she? There we go, Lucy Connolly. It's the actual Lucy Connolly account I did check earlier. That's the woman who was put in jail for telling people to burn down migrant hotels. That bitch. Anyway, she likes him.
Place in our high trust society. Britain is a Christian country, and we
No, it isn't. It hasn't been for a very, very long time.
must ensure it remains that way. If we cannot agree on that, then there is simply no way forward.
It's really interesting that he's even doing this because, as is pointed out here, he literally put a video out in April that literally referred to Nigel Farage as a traitor. And now he wants to crawl back into bed with him? With a man he thinks is a traitor? Oh, no. She's not in jail anymore. She's been released. She served her sentence and is now out. What is this guy's accent? Where is he from? Ah, no, he's got the accent of the kind of posh people. Not like the old money posh people, the kind of nouveau posh people who have been sort of posh within the last maybe 3 to 4 generations. Not like old money posh, because that's like the Queen and shit. That's crazy. But he's like relatively new money posh, which is essentially indistinct, regardless of where you are in the country. Rupert is being funded by US Christians like Erica Kirk. It's not even Erica Kirk. We know who's funding it. Elon Musk is funding it. We know for absolutely certain. Now, of course, it has to be done hush hush because technically, as a foreign citizen, he's not allowed to fund a British political party. But we all know that things could be gotten around with shell companies and, offshore bank accounts and crypto and blah blah blah. Basically, he's trying to buy a British election in the way he did in America. Thankfully, it hasn't worked.
Recommendations from our independent rape gang inquiry must be implemented in full. That includes the deportation of foreign national accomplices who were aware of these heinous crimes and yet failed to act.
Does that include the police officers who actively colluded with them? Where are we sending them exactly? Or is it okay because they're white in English? Is it okay if it's okay if the police were the ones abusing them? Is that okay because they were white? I need to know the rules here.
I know you have publicly disagreed and that this was the source of our previous difference of opinion, but it is a firm red line. If a Pakistani woman knew her husband was repeatedly gang raping a vulnerable white English girl,
it just says it, just outright. It's only bad if it's Pakistanis that are doing it to white people. That's it. That's the only way he cares. That's the only way round it matters to him. If it's a white person doing it, he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care. If it's a British person doing it, he doesn't care. Again, he's saying the quiet bit out loud. We all know this. We all absolutely know this. That's what all of this "we care about the women and the girls" thing is about. We know that, obviously. That's why, for instance, Rod Liddell, a transphobic piece of shit, who, like I said, I read that piece, that quote from him in The Spectator, right? Knows he couldn't have been a school teacher because he would have wanted to rape the children. Lots of TERFs have come out and mourned his death publicly today. Because, you know, they care about the women and girls, obviously. You know, a man who punched his pregnant wife in the face was convicted of that, admitted to it, pled guilty. But, you know, the TERFs love him. Because, you know, transphobia transcends actually protecting women, of course. You know.
yet failed to act. She should be sent back to Pakistan. I hope her husband is not so fortunate. And on that, third, a referendum on restoring the death penalty.
Jesus fucking Christ. Oh. Oh. Oh, Layla, you missed the start of the show. Rod Liddell, the British quote-unquote journalist. Ex-journalist, I think we can say now. He's very much unemployed, given that he's now dead. Yes. So, his priorities are getting rid of all the brown people, getting rid of all the brown people, and this is going to be getting rid of all the brown people, brackets, lethal. There's a theme. There is a thematic through line in all of this.
Axel Rudakabana, Hashim Abedi, Shabir Ahmed. Keeping these monsters alive, and hundreds just like them.
Hundreds. You gonna mention any of the white ones? Gonna mention any of the white people at all? Rupert? No, of course not. No.
Achieves nothing. The British people must be given a full, free and fair referendum on the reintroduction of the death penalty for the most monstrous and undeniable criminals. You have opposed...
See, that's the problem. Undeniable. Because the thing is, Rupert, you desperately wanted this just to be used on brown people, but that's not how the legal system works. The law has to be blind. Not literally, of course. It means it can't see the individual, it only sees the case. So, if a white person does the exact same thing, they should receive the same punishment. But interestingly, you only want this to be applied seemingly to brown people. So again, this is another example of the right asking for a thing that will lead to consequences that they don't like.
This previously, and that is why letting the British people decide is the right thing to do. I will, in that referendum, without a shadow of a doubt, be...
There isn't going to be a fucking referendum. He's talking like any of this is real. You're one bloke and your party's dead. Shut the fuck up.
Voting in favour. Fourth, restoring a self-sufficient Britain. Britain must live within its means. That means controlling spending, cutting welfare costs, and making difficult decisions to bring inflation under control and restore sound public finances.
See, he's just a Tory at heart. He's just an old Tory at heart.
It means a Britain that can power itself, feed itself, defend itself, restore Britain's unique
and can fuck itself.
Comprehensive policy papers are already addressing these challenges. To fund that, enormous cuts must be made.
Enormous cuts.
These choices will not always be popular, but we must be prepared to think in generations, not just election cycles.
Exactly. You've got to plan a kind of 1,000-year government, if you will. You know, a kind of a Reich for the ages, that sort of thing, maybe.
By what is right for Britain, not for what will simply result in better polling. Difficult, unpopular decisions are now required, not short-term politicking, but long-term, hard planning that will ensure we leave a better Britain to our grandchildren than the one that was handed to us. Fifth, restoring the country's faith in politics. The British people have entirely lost faith in Westminster. That trust will not be restored by recycling.
So I reckon we should just privatise Parliament. Where's he going with this?
The same ministers, advisors and thinking that created today's problems. Former Conservative ministers who failed our country and our people in so many appalling ways must not be part of any future cabinet.
I agree on that, yeah. Like, Farage did himself such a fucking hamstring by allowing Robert Jenrick to defect and making him one of his top team. Robert Jenrick is literally the immigration minister that opened the fucking migrant hotel. Well, the hotel's already open, but like he's the one that started using them to house huge numbers of migrants, right? And yet he's the one who's going to sort the problem out somehow for them. Like, people voted for Nigel Farage because they didn't want the Tories, and now the Tories are just there. It's literally like it's the Barney Rubble meme. The British people are Mo Sislak throwing throwing Barney out of the bar, and that's the Tories, and then they just appear behind him anyway.
They had their chance, and they failed us all. That must not be rewarded with a second opportunity.
Andrew Luke! Fucking Christ almighty. I mean, you're not wrong. By the way, everyone go and follow Andrew Luke in chat there. Good lad. This seems like the final recording before topping yourself. Fucking hell. What prompted this video? Him getting his arse handed to him in Manchester, in the Manchester by-election, the Manchester mayoral by-election. The Restore Party did really badly. The Reform Party didn't do well either, but the Restore Party did particularly badly. Well underperformed expectations. So he realises that his gambit is dead, and he's trying to salvage whatever political career he can out of this. You know. So he now wants to appear to be the bigger man. I'm uniting the right. No, you're an irrelevance. Why would Nigel Farage even take you seriously?
These principles of restoration will be offered to the British people on the ballot paper at the next general election, with or without you.
And they will ignore you, as they continually have.
Your cooperation. My sole aim through Restore Britain is the implementation of a properly considered policy program that will start the process of desperately needed restoration for our once great country.
You should write it down in a book and call it My Struggle. I think that would sell really well.
I do not.
I mean, actually, no, it wouldn't, because your people can't read.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
No, his supporters are always shit.
Barney
you know.
Gumble Rubble is Flintstones. Also money for the cheese emoji, tithe, rat emoji, goose emoji, honk if Rod Little's jage. Honk if Thatcher's jage, goose emoji, cheese emoji, snake emoji, rat emoji, lovely day all let.
Jage? The fuck is that? Oh, dead. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, Rod Little is Jage, and Margaret Thatcher is Jage. Can we get some lols in chat for both Rod Little and Margaret Thatcher being Jage? Because they are so Jage.
Care how that is done. I only care that it is done. So Nigel, my message is simple. If you are prepared to work together around serious policies, serious reform, and serious government, then so are we.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
He wants laws like Israel's for unequal punishment.
He wants laws like Israel's for unequal... But yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. No, well, because just like in Israel, he's an ethno-nationalist, yeah. He's essentially... could you call him a British... A British Zionist? Well, no, a British Zionist is just the Zionist from Britain, I guess. But, like, he's doing a British version of that.
Not because it's politically convenient for Restore Britain, not because it's personally easy. After the events of the last 18 months, I would certainly rather not be making this offer.
But your pathetic election results mean that you sort of have to in order to try and reclaim any amount of career at all in politics whatsoever. Because you realise, even in your own constituency, you will lose the next election.
But millions and millions of British people deserve a patriotic government that puts our national interest before any personal differences that you and I may have. If you disagree, that is your choice. Restore Britain will be ready for what comes regardless.
Well, after Rod Little died today, I came. So, you know. I don't think that's what he means, but I did come.
Truly believe there could be sufficient common ground for our two movements to cooperate collectively, destroy the looming left-wing alliance that will...
Thanks for the shout-out, Roop. Me and Zach Polanski are going to Islamise Britain and make it gay. Fuck yes.
Finish off what hope remains for this country. We have recently shown how effectively cooperation can work, locally, on the Norfolk County Council. So why not at national level?
Because, like, Norfolk County Council is a little bit different. Like, sorry, Roop, but, like, it's a bit bigger. And it doesn't have Nigel Farage or Rupert Lowe on it. So it has a chance of, you know, getting on with itself.
In my view, failing to even try, because of our own personal difficulties, is simply not an option. The British people deserve nothing less than our best and sincere efforts to make it happen. Now is the time to put our differences aside and cooperate for the good of the country that we all love.
So that was the leader of a party with 1 MP asking the leader of a party with 6 MPs to agree on crazy shit that no one wants and will never happen and that will be ignored anyway. Cool. Anyway, naturally, a lot of the right wing have been calling him a cock for getting in bed with Farage. And lots of the Farage people have been saying, no, he's crazy, blah 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 blah. It's, you know, it's there's been some very, very funny bitching. Anyway, the answer came, giggity, in the form of a news conference with Zia Yusuf, lol, and Nigel Farage, where they basically just ignored him and didn't mention him and just laid out their plans instead for what they're calling Operation Fortress, because that's not ominous at all.
At the moment, and they say there's also the risk of endangering lives.
Good morning, everybody. I'm pleased this morning to be launching Operation Fortress, which Bill...
Interesting that he's launching Operation Fortress. This isn't anything. This is a press conference. This is a press conference. You're not launching anything. You've taken time out from your summer spent arguing with a bin to say some racist shit that will never happen. Cool. Operation Fortress ahoy.
On Operation Restoring Justice, which Zia and I launched last year. This major crisis that Europe's facing began really in earnest in 2015. It followed the disastrous war in Libya and led to large numbers of people beginning to cross the Mediterranean in boats. I was there in the European Parliament at the time. The Commission President, Jean...
No, you weren't, because you never fucking attended the European Parliament, ever, basically, so shop.
Claude Juncker saw this as an opportunity for the first time to launch the common EU refugee and asylum policy. What it meant was that if anybody set foot on EU soil, they would be allowed to stay. I warned against it, I railed against it, but of course to no avail. And that stupidity was compounded, of course, by Angela Merkel saying anyone that wants to come, we can manage, we can accommodate you. And it's had pretty dire consequences. One only has to think about what's happened to the city of Malmo, previously a fairly peaceful port, now one of the murder and rape hotspots in the whole of Europe.
That's a lie. The thing he said there was a massive lie. It's been fact-checked. There's no such thing. Very Trumpian of him to just pretend that, like, whilst you don't necessarily see all of these problems, they're definitely happening in Sweden. Because, fuck it, it's far away. It's like, they don't speak English all the time, so it's difficult to, like, get any news from there in the West, really. So you can pretend that anything's happening there. It's the right wing's little, look, it's like in America when they're going about Chicago all the time. Like, it's their place de jour for pretending bad things are happening because they're not actually happening here. Cool.
And in many ways...
If he gets any browner, he'll deport himself. True. Well, ironically, he does have a German passport, of course.
In the run-up to the referendum in 2016, the reason that I launched that breaking point poster was to say Europe has given it...
Because you're an arser, yeah. That's why you did it.
...itself massive problems for decades to come. But we can avoid this by leaving the European Union and getting back control of our borders. Sadly...
That didn't happen. Brilliant.
Governments after 2016 were in power but never really believed in the Brexit project. And even when...
That's the thing. In order to actually see Brexit, you really have to believe it's there. Honestly, the sunlit uplands of the Brexit project are definitely there and real. You just have to really believe it. Shut the fuck up, you waxwork cunt.
Brexit finally came. There was no change, to our status with the ECHR. And that was why 5 years ago...
Yeah, because that wasn't on the ballot, was it, you cunt?
Single-handedly, I went out repeatedly into the English Channel, videoing, YouTubing the growing number of boats crossing the English Channel, and I made the argument that you might just as well put a sign on the White Cliffs of Dover. Everyone welcome.
Yeah, dope, let's do that.
Because the chances of deportation were then, and are today, so incredibly slim.
Honestly, can we do that? Like, it's public land, right? Surely there's nothing illegal in just putting a sign up. Like, it's not legally enforceable, obviously, but just to annoy Nigel Farage, we should put up a massive sign that says everyone
Sometimes
welcome.
it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Most of Chicago's guns come from MAGA, Indiana, too.
True. Although the only shooter from Indiana that I was ever interested in, Larry Bird, motherfucker. Coldest white boy to ever do it.
I said I believed if it wasn't stopped, that it would lead, literally, in numerical terms, to an invasion of our country. Well, under the Conservatives, 130,000 people arrived via that route. The vast majority, young males of fighting age, who
are going to fuck your wife. As long as they're Ukrainians, Keir Starmer's on board.
willfully discard their iPhones and their passports into the English Channel at the 12-mile line. And I've been out and I've filmed that too. In the end, Boris Johnson reacted with a speech at Lid Airport announcing the Rwanda plan. But it was doomed to failure from day one because of our
because it was shit.
continuing presence as part of the European Convention on Human Rights. I have to say, the fact we've given the French over £1 billion and that their navy still escort boats from a couple of 100 yards off the beach all the way across to a 12-mile line, that is something that needs to stop.
What they need to do is gun them down, is what he wants to say.
And whatever videos or pictures you see of the French police slashing boats, the fact is that the traffickers have become even smarter.
So, actually, the French police need to be even bigger cunts to the ridiculously impoverished people. Jesus Christ. Also, right, Nigel, you say you want people to integrate into the British way of life. What's more British than not wanting to be from France? Like, they're going about, oh, France is a safe country, they could just stay there. Yeah, but they're so intrinsically British that they know in their very core of themselves that they can't stay there and become a French citizen because that is unworthy of a human being. They're not just assimilated, they're pre-assimilated into the most core part of British identity, which is fuck France. You know what I'm saying? What's more British than that? You want Britain to be about British, you want Britain to be about British, Muslimic Reagams.
And in the last 3 weeks, we've seen several launches coming from as far west as Normandy.
Okay. Cool. Would you be in favour of painting teeth lines on the White Cliffs of Dover and putting 2 googly eyes above them? I would absolutely be in favour of that. Just for the whimsy. Got nothing to do with like attracting or distracting anybody or anything like that. But just that would be funny to do. I'd also be fine with a cock and balls. You can't go wrong with a cock and balls in any situation of graffiti. So why not have a 2-mile long cock and bollocks on the White Cliffs of Dover? It's not beyond the wit of man to do this. We have the technology, we have the money, we have the skills. What we don't have is the political will to make it happen. And that speaks very poorly to Britain.
All the while, the pull factor...
By the way, we're definitely speeding this up because this cunt is droning on. Fuck me. We go 2.2%, 2 times.
Coming to the UK, being able to stay, all the while that pull factor is still there.
Actually, that's a bit much. That's a bit more. We'll drag that back to like 1.5.
It doesn't matter how much money we give the French, the boats will continue to come. And of course, many of those that have come are people who in some cases wish us harm or do us harm. As we speak, there is a man, charming chap, Kalashnikov tattooed on his face, currently in prison in this country, who's threatened repeatedly to kill me, and no doubt that promise remains when he's out in a few months' time.
But I haven't even got a Kalashnikov rifle, so it's not me. I would never hurt anyone in the Reform Party. Obviously. So, you know, just saying. Also, notice how when you say do us harm, you don't give a fuck about the actual terrorists who have hurt people, just the person who was threatened to hurt you. It's almost like you're a victim playing little narcissistic bitch. Nigel. Do you still want... I did not say I wanted him publicly beheaded. I mean, I did literally say it, but I was saying it to say I didn't want that to happen. You clip-chimped me, 255. You're trying to get me cancelled and banned and imprisoned. Will I apologise? No, but I will condemn both Hamas and Hassan Piker. Although I repeat myself, clearly.
There isn't a single week that goes by where we don't see stories of serious crimes, sexual assaults, rapes, and we know for a fact...
And that's just from Parliament.
...that many that are now coming come with the deliberate attempt of joining criminal gangs in Britain as soon as they come. But it is worse than that. I first started voicing this again 5 years ago to say this would become, or could become, then, a national security emergency. And that is exactly what it is. Repeatedly I've asked the Prime Minister, well, the last Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, in PMQs, whether he would declare a national security emergency. 2 months ago, I told the Home Secretary and the House of Commons that I had it on the highest authority that the Iranian regime was using the Channel crisis to put their own operatives across.
You're such a boomer. Oh, God. Yeah, and Al-Qaeda are putting fentanyl in your kids' candy. Yeah, I'm sure that's happening too. Fucking hell. Like Iran have to sneak people through like that. Salutes in chat, everyone. We're not messing around with this. This is an absolute legend. Salutes in chat. Boom shakalaka. Legend. What's the dog's name again? I've forgotten the dog's fucking name. God, that's bad. It does have a little pillow. It's awesome. Rusty, there we go. I always get it confused because my aunt's dog is called Rosa. That's my aunt. Hang on. Hang on. Go to my channel. Posts, I guess. Oh. There we go. That's Rosa. That Rosie's the one on the left, and then the other hairy one, the fat one. That's me. Yeah. So Rosie and Rusty, I get confused. Anyway, she is a queen. Salutes in chat. With how his lot pissed and moaned during COVID, I don't think he'd block a national emergency to catch them Iranians. Well, exactly. Literally.
The English Channel. I was met by shouts of shame on you. Well, shame on them. Because once again, it proves that I was ahead of the curve on this. And indeed, that is what is happening. So, Operation Fortress will be a combined military operation. It will save lives. It will help the French in fulfilling their job of stopping the boats. And it will save a huge amount of money.
Why is it the job of the French to stop the boats? Like, can someone tell me that? Why is it the job of the French government to do that? We're the ones that want the boats to stop. They seemingly don't give that much of a fuck, in all honesty. They're just a transit country, right?
Very confident that our policy of securely picking people up and safely taking them back to France, we are entirely confident that that falls within other conventions of international law.
It doesn't. So their plan, right? So they're completely ignoring Rupert Lowe, and quite rightly so, because who gives a fuck? But their plan to out racism him is to commit acts of war on our nearest neighbour. Well, technically, the Republic of Ireland. You get whatever on the continent, right? Is to say to another nuclear-armed nation, we are going to invade your territorial waters and your land against your wishes and put our military personnel on your soil without your acceptance of that. That's called an invasion, Nigel. That's called us declaring war on France. What you are suggesting there is that we declare war on France. Now, don't get me wrong, declaring war on France has generally been a very good policy for a lot of British leaders. I don't know that we're in that place historically anymore. Like, it's always been a pretty successful strategy in centuries past. Not always successful in that we won, but successful in that people liked it. Because what's better than declaring war on France? Literally nothing. But, as we saw from the Iranian thing, we literally don't have any ships. We don't have any fucking ships that work on water. So I don't even know, like, the P&O have a better fucking navy than we do. Do you know what I mean? And also, if we declare war on France like that, they can just start fucking bombing us, you dopey cunt. Now, the French government are not so crazy that they would actually do that, I don't think. But I think they would definitely be within their rights to arrest any military personnel that turn up on their borders, and if they resist arrest, to shoot them dead. I think that's very possible. What you are suggesting, Nigel, is so much worse than some small boats. We should retake the West Falklands. Honestly, Argentina could probably take us. Although, let's be honest, if their strategy of just fouling every time the British Army gets past them, knowing that the referee won't book them, and then acting like sore losers when they do eventually lose, is anything to go by. Okay, I'll put it this way. Some people have said that World Cup tarnishes Lionel Messi's reputation. What better to restore that than for him to single-handedly lead the front line in a Argentine attack of Britain? They could probably take us. Especially given that their fascist leader is being bankrolled by the American taxpayer right now, so, you know. With that kind of backing, they probably could do us in.
And you'll see that argued clearly in this document. When you think about it, what is the Royal Navy for? If the Royal Navy is not there to protect this country from invasion, then frankly, I can't see what its purpose is.
Well, we're not being invaded. It's just some people on boats, mate. They're not like... It's not a foreign army. What you are suggesting is that the British army, or I suppose Navy, because he's talking about Marines, invading France, but we are not being invaded. These are people seeking asylum. It's a very different thing.
We now see a Conservative Shadow Home Secretary going into the English Channel 5 years too late and making exactly the same arguments now that I've made for 5 years. But remember, in their 2010, 15, 17 and 19 manifestos, they promised net migration down to tens of thousands a year and shouldn't be believed. And even since Andy Burnham has become Prime Minister.
Now, that's interesting given that half of your top team are former Tory ministers who also shouldn't be trusted on this, Nigel? Maybe?
Already 2,000 people have crossed the English Channel. There is an argument doing the rounds in the media that it's okay. It's fine. The numbers are 40% lower than they were this time last year. But it only takes one or two Iranian terrorists to come into Britain and commit a mass atrocity for this to be a disaster.
Why would they have to send operatives on tiny boats? It is not illegal for an Iranian to just travel to Britain. There is nothing stopping an Iranian from doing that. They could just come here on as a tourist and do some terrorism if they wanted to. You'll notice they're not doing that, are they, Nigel? This is nothing to do with Iran. I know you're a Zionist freak and you have to try and make this about sucking Israel's dick all the time. We know that. We know. We get it. It would appear that Benjamin Netanyahu's dick is rather Moorish to your type. But the Iranians would not have to send anyone via a small boat. That would be a farcically convoluted way to get someone into Britain, when they could just arrive on a fucking plane. There are Iranian people in Britain now. They're not bombing anyone, Nigel. They're not doing terrorism, mate.
Disaster. The Australians faced all of these problems many years ago. They tried offshore processing. They tried a number of things, and in the end what worked was towing the boats back to Indonesia. And since then, hardly a boat has landed in Australia. I am entirely confident that under a Reform government...
Really? Because the Australian right are not saying the same thing. They seem to think immigration is still a massive problem. Nigel.
Within a fortnight, there would be no more boats. And whilst this issue may not be uppermost in the minds of many in Westminster, I can tell you out in the country, it is. And that comes out of a simple...
Well, because the media have done nothing but talk about it for years. Laying the groundwork for your fascism. Yeah.
Point. Fairness. What is fair, what is right, what is wrong? Those who come to Britain legally now go through a long, expensive process. It's unfair on them. And to now see a situation where those that come to Britain illegally, via these means, go to the top of social housing lists all over the country is simply unfair. I do not have much confidence that this Prime Minister will grip this, but I very much hope that I'm wrong, and I will ask Zia to lay out more of the operational details. Thank you.
A nation that cannot control its borders is not a sovereign nation, and Britain is being invaded. For decades...
Amazing. Amazing. They found a brown lad to sell white nationalism. Incredible. Incredible.
Tory and Labour governments promised to get tough on illegal immigration. And yet year after year after year, tens of thousands of fighting-age males have arrived on our beaches.
Fighting-age males, there it is. Also, interestingly, the Tories that failed are now sat in the Reform leadership. Aren't they, Zia? Like, there are literally former Tory immigration ministers and a former Tory Home Secretary who are Reform MPs. You're not even that.
In fact, the total number of illegal immigrants in this country now stands at well over 1 million. The United Kingdom is...
I want to know where you got that stat from.
...being invaded. Over 200,000 people have landed illegally on our shores over 8 years. Now that's a...
Rookie numbers. We could do way more than that. Way more.
Staggering figure. And it exceeds the total number of Allied troops who stormed the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. Those who arrive are unvetted, mainly military-age men from Iran.
Oh yeah, yeah, Lowe wants the legal ones to go as well. But that's what I mean, right? When I mentioned earlier that the only real difference they have outside of like interpersonal bitching is that the Reform Party realise that they have to try and sell a softer version of fascism. So they're going to hide their power levels and not go on about how much they want to deport every brown person, including Zia Youssef. Whereas lunatics like Lowe are just like, no, we should just say we want to get rid of all brown people. And if you don't agree with that, you're a massive cock piece of shit and a traitor. And probably a communist, I reckon.
Afghanistan, Syria, and Iraq. Now, they have been rewarded for this by a political class that puts them up in hotels at the British taxpayers' expense, given free meals, free healthcare, free TV license, and even free trips to the safari park and to the cinema. And never forget...
Oh, God, what petty little cunts. Honest to God. What small minds.
As Nigel said, that it was the Tories that allowed 130,000 to arrive. Labour...
And then you've got their immigration minister as your fucking potential chancellor, mate. You're just the Tories.
It's simply continuing their betrayal. Even those that commit heinous crimes are routinely defended by so-called human rights lawyers who succeed in preventing even convicted rapist illegal migrants from being deported.
Again, only if they're migrants, though. Convicted rapists, if they're like white, that's fine. That's fine. That's not a problem. Only if they're brown. Brown rapist bad. White rapist fine. Is literally their like position.
Thanks to Tory and Labour politicians who prioritise the rights of foreign citizens over our own. Now, some of those arriving illegally by boat have already attempted terrorist attacks on our soil. Some have committed...
Many of your supporters have as well.
...gruesome murders. Like on the night of the 20th of October 2024. A 27-year-old young lady called Rhiannon White had just finished her shift at the Park Inn Hotel. She was on the phone to a friend as she walked to the railway station. While she was on the platform, a Sudanese man inexplicably stabbed her 23 times with a screwdriver. She died...
Again, this was not me. I didn't do this.
...in hospital 3 days later. Her killer, Deng Majek, had arrived in the UK illegally on a small boat 3 months before the attack.
Okay, and like, so what? Like, literally, so what? Yeah, some people are crazy cunts. Evil people, or mad people, will do fucked up shit. That's not a reason to just, like, completely overhaul our fucking immigration policy. Because, like, one guy went mental with a screwdriver. Do you know how many fucking white people do that all the time? Loads. Just come out and say it's just the race of the person we don't like. It's not the killing, it's the fact that it was a white person killed by a not white person. That's all that matters.
CCTV footage later showed him dancing and laughing.
Yeah, because he was fucking crazy. Yeah, we know.
He was living in a hotel at taxpayer expense.
Who opened those hotels? Oh, fuck's sake.
On a small boat...
Who opened those hotels, though? Was it Robert Jenrick? As Tory immigration minister, who's now your fucking presumptive Chancellor of the Exchequer, you cunt.
Living in a hotel at taxpayer expense. Rhiannon's devastated mother said in court, quote, "It's always the undocumented illegal migrants that are doing this."
Right, and that's not true. Look, I don't give a fuck what this crazy racist cunt had to say in fucking court. I don't care. She is incorrect. Her words are irrelevant. That's fucking stupid.
And it's not fair. Also among those arriving are individuals who have actively plotted terror attacks on our soil. Intelligence reports confirm that hostile actors, including Iranian terrorists, are exploiting these very routes.
See, the deep state's good when we can use it to our advantage. Chat, yeah?
The safety of the British people is being put at risk every single day. And the patience of the British people is now exhausted. We're unwilling to accept that Britain's borders should be open and undefended, unwilling to accept that our own veterans who served our nation with valour and distinction are being evicted from their homes to house fighting-age males from Iraq and Afghanistan who turned up on our beaches uninvited.
Jesus Christ. What world are they living in? Like, again, nothing short of mincing these people, like literally just killing them, will be enough for them. If you put them in migrant hotels, that's not good enough. You put them in houses, that's not good enough. You put them in former barracks, that's not good enough. They literally just want them minced. They literally just want them minced and turned into Soylent Green to feed to other migrants. It's so grotesque.
As Nigel said, this is a national security emergency. Yet, successive Tory and Labour governments have treated this emergency with contemptible weakness, Rather than defending the realm, they have turned state agencies into a free taxi service and provided taxpayer-funded hotels for those who break our laws. They
Who opened those hotels? Zia. Oh yeah, it's a now Reform MP. Yeah.
rendered the English Channel to criminal cartels. Under Nigel's leadership, Reform UK will end this crisis for good. We will launch Operation Fortress, the biggest military operation in the English Channel since the Second World War.
Brilliant. So you're opening up with, this is the largest military operation since that time we invaded northern France, and you expect the French government to accept that military operation is going to also invade northern France and just be totally cool with that situation. You expect the French government to hear you crowing about this massive military operation that's then going to land without the say-so of the French government on French territory. I'll be honest with you, Zia. I think the French government and the French military might have a response for you. Won't be one you like, but it will be definitive.
Under Reform government, Prime Minister Farage will order His Majesty's Royal Navy to ensure that not a single unauthorised vessel makes it to the shores of the United Kingdom. Our plan, as you will see in the document, is endorsed by senior former members of our armed forces. It is simple.
Oh, other fascists. Cool, cool.
First, we will create an integrated surveillance command, unifying military and intelligence surveillance to make ours the most surveilled maritime border in the world. Second, any vessel attempting to cross illegally will be intercepted by our armed forces, who will return them back to France. Not a single illegal migrant trying to reach our shores will make it to Britain. To those with no right to enter Britain, our...
Okay, what happens when the French Navy fire on us? Do we fire back? Do we get into a literal war with France? Because that's what will happen. If the French Navy see our boats illegally entering their territory, they will initially ask that those boats leave French waters. And if they refuse to do so, they will fire a warning shot. If you still continue not to, they will fucking fire on you. The French aren't going to fucking put up with it, and neither would we. If the French Navy arrived off the fucking coast of Southampton tomorrow, do you think we'd just be like, oh, that's fine, yeah, no, that's cool? Because they're probably not going to invade or anything. Oh no, they've actually put they've put Marines on our territory without our government saying so. Cool. No, that's totally normal and fine, actually. No, we'd be fucking outraged if that happened. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, you're literally asking to start a war with France, who, like, it is nostalgic. It's very old school. But I'll be honest, I don't fancy our chances, considering we had one boat to send to Iran, and it was so bad that it took months of round-the-clock work to patch it up, and then it had to limp into fucking harbour at Gibraltar to get repaired again. Basically, we sent a colander with a gun on it to defend our bases in the Middle East. And that is the Navy right now. Like, come on, mate. Come on. France would trigger Article 5. True. True, Chloe. But you know what that would mean, right? Because Article 5 would mean that the British government, who are a signatory to those NATO agreements, including Article 5, would have to declare war on itself. Which brings up a number of interesting existential questions. Because if we declare war on ourselves, is that itself a hostile action for which we should trigger Article 5, which means we would have to declare war on ourselves for declaring war on ourselves? Thus triggering a never-ending loop of us declaring war on ourselves, to declare war on ourselves, to declare war on ourselves. It's a can of worms. It's a conundrum. It's like the riddle of the Sphinx.
Our border will be impenetrable. Once the world realises that crossing the Channel illegally leads only to being intercepted by our Royal Marines and returned to France, the incentive structure breaks. These economic migrants will stop paying smugglers, and the boats will stop coming.
No, the French Navy will just fire on our shipping. That's what will actually happen. Not shipping, like, not merchant navy, on the Royal Navy. Obviously.
Now, I know many in the media are clamouring to ask, what happens if the French don't agree and Royal Marines attempt to land people on a beach? Let me be crystal clear. A reform government will show unflinching resolve to ensure that people who set out from France to break into Britain go back to France. That is our...
So, okay, but that's not an answer to the question, is it? That's not a fucking answer to the question. What happens when France don't accept that? Will you break French territorial integrity, thus declaring war on France? That would be an act of war and aggression. If we say to France, we have these boats, we'd like to return them to your waters and escort them to your territory, and the French go, no. Which I'll translate for you means no. If your unflinching resolve is that they're just going to carry on anyway, that means you will declare a war on France. And I'll be honest with you, much like with the football team, I don't fancy our chances. Although, to be fair, their football team did underperform at the World Cup a little bit, to be fair. But what are the odds that Kylian Mbappe is going to fail twice? Actually, he's not in the French Navy. Not a relevant comparison. But the point is, they'll fire on us and then we're fucked. Like, Russia got exposed as a paper tiger for invading a country it couldn't take over. Let's not make the same mistake. Let's keep the world thinking that we might be able to do something.
It's our policy, not a future negotiating position with the French government. What France gets to decide is how that happens. Now look, we would far rather disembark people in port, walk people down a gangway, and hand them to the French authorities properly. That is more dignified, and it is what we will negotiate for. And keep in mind, the official position of the French government is that they do not want these boats leaving their shores in the first place. Tory and Labour governments have paid them, as Nigel said, £1 billion of British taxpayer money to stop the boats, ostensibly. Our military would in fact be helping them comply with the very agreements that they signed. But if the Elysee Palace refuses, make no mistake, His Majesty's Royal Marines will disembark them safely on the very shore they left that morning.
So that's just war then? Your policy is, we will go to war with France. Turning a non-problem into a national security fucking nightmare. Brilliant. Fucking excellent. Marvellous. Read this. What am I reading? It is a Reform Party, your Operation Fortress, stopping the invasion of Britain. Oh, so this is the actual document, is it? Resisting the invasion, establish French and Belgian obligations. Okay, let's have a look. Page 14. Hang on, sorry. Operational plan. The operation runs as a continuous 4-stage cycle. Detect and track, interdict, lol, board and secure, transfer and return. No stage depends on French cooperation, and every... No stage depends on... This is fantasy. This is a fantasy world. They're living in a fucking fantasy land. Genius. No plan. No stage depends on French cooperation. So up to and including the British Navy invading French territorial waters and land. Because in order to escort them onto the land, we would have to put British troops on France against the wishes of the French government. Genius. Honestly, these people are fucking idiots. Landing ships. Yeah, okay. Legal analysis. France is obligated under numerous agreements with the UK to prevent dangerous small boat journeys departing from French shores. Okay, we do not believe for a moment that the French Navy or Gendarmerie will open fire on Royal Marines. Oh, that's okay then. As long as you don't believe that will happen, we should definitely just risk it, I reckon. Literally, their argument, their legal argument here is, yeah, it might not happen. It might not even happen, lads. So, I reckon it probably won't happen. So, for nationalists, they don't seem to understand that other people's nationalism is important to them too. Like, they don't seem to understand. When you talk about securing your borders, do you think France doesn't care about its fucking borders? Do you think the French government are okay with foreign governments putting their fucking territory, putting soldiers on their territory? Do you think that's okay? Do you think any French government of any stripe will put up with that shit? Are you fucking mental? We do not believe. Yeah, but I know the things you do believe, and they're fucking bollocks. Fuck off, man. This is wank.
Those are the only two options. There is no third option, where a British government under reform just shrugs its shoulders and brings them back to Dover. That policy of Tory and Labour governments that has led to 200,000 illegal migrants arriving on...
Well, considering there isn't going to be a fucking reform government because your party is in shambles right now. Yeah, whatevs.
on our shores. That was the policy that led to the savage murder of Rhiannon White. The policy that has almost resulted in a mass casualty terrorist attack on our soil. And ask your...
Almost. But it was definitely going to happen. But almost. Like... literally, their argument is... What? That terrorism wouldn't happen if brown people weren't allowed into the country? Because white people would never do bad things.
Yourself what the alternative picture actually is. A president of France ordering French police onto a beach to block Royal Marines on a humanitarian mission from landing civilians in safety.
No, not just blocking them, firing on them. Literally firing on them. Either with water cannon if they're gendarmes, or with fucking live rounds if it's the French... Do you think the French fucking Navy are going to be okay with us taking our shit and putting it into fucking French waters? You're a madman. What's this? What? That's an entire stream. Oh, that's oh you're linking a stream for someone. Oh, okay. I was about to say, why have you sent me my own stream? But you ratted somebody else. Yeah. Celtic start the season with a 1-0 win. Good to see Scottish football is still terrible. But Celtic will win, so that's cool. Good stuff.
And forcing them back out to sea, directly endangering their lives? Well, that would be a crime against humanity. It is simply not a serious...
Yeah, unlike, you know, what Israel's doing. That we've got Friends of Israel now, you know. That's cool. No, we really care about crimes against humanity, guys, honest. What about crimes of war? What about crimes of aggressive war? Don't call people shit, Kev. No, I mean shit as in like our boats and stuff. And naval shit.
It's hypothetical. That President Macron, or anybody else for that matter, would do that. And I do not believe the French public would stand for it if he did.
Yeah, what the French people would definitely love is Britain invading. Jesus Christ. This guy's on a different level. How do they think this is serious? How do they think this is a serious actual plan that could ever happen?
And to the talking heads and useless politicians claiming this policy will not work, the evidence proves the opposite. In fact, it is the...
What evidence? When was the last time we declared war on France? Mers al-Kabir, perhaps? That was fucking 90 years ago, mate. Or 80 years, whatever. To be fair, we did fuck up the French Navy that day, but it's a different matter. Interestingly, Churchill literally there was a suggestion. I don't think the French would ever have accepted it, but there was a suggestion that there would be a temporary France and Britain joining as one country. That there would literally be a Franco-British Union, only temporarily. Like, it wasn't meant to be a long-lasting thing. In order to try and protect both France and Britain from the old Nazis. Didn't really work out in the end, unfortunately. But, you know, Churchill, the great hero of conservatism, was the one that proposed this. Intriguing. The Battle of Fishguard? What is this? What is this nonsense? The Battle of Fishguard. Great Britain and Revolutionary France, blah, blah, blah. Oh, no. We definitely did acts of war against France during the Second World War as well. I appreciate the lovely reference to the Napoleonic Wars, but no, it was is it Mers al-Kabir? The port in what was French not Libya, French Algeria, where essentially and it was a very sore spot with France for a very long time afterwards. Churchill ordered the British Navy to either put forward the options to the French Navy that were there in order to stop the French Navy from falling into Nazi hands, which would be obviously a bit of a problem for Britain, that either those ships be escorted to North America to wait out the war and then they could be returned to France, assuming France won, or that, you know, that France were freed and became an independent nation again, or they scuttled themselves, or you just fucking sunk the bastards. So, unfortunately, the French were not okay with either of the other options, and so the British fired on several French ships and sunk them and killed lots of French naval personnel. Not a proud day for Britain, but some would say a necessary one. I'm going to leave it there. Either way, I would definitely say that was an act of war against France by Britain. That's a declaration of war. We were at war at that point. Just saying. We did kill French seamen. Yeah. That is literally true.
The only thing that does. When Australia had a major illegal boats migration crisis, it was only when they launched a major military operation that it stopped. In fact, Tony Abbott's Operation Sovereign Borders cut illegal crossings to zero within weeks.
Okay, I don't really know the story there. Did they have the cooperation of the Indonesians? I'm not sure. And even if they didn't, I imagine the disparity in military possibility between Australia and Indonesia is a little bit disproportionate to the situation with Britain and France. Is all I'm saying. You know.
A years-long crisis ended within weeks, and it also saved lives. Between 2007 and 2013, 1,200 migrants tragically died making the journey to Australia.
Tragic. I'm sure. Can you not feel how tragic he thinks that is? He definitely feels for those people. Honest. He definitely sees them as humans. Completely. Of course he does. Are you suggesting he's a soulless monster? He is. He is all of that. Yeah. He's a cunt. Yeah. Yep.
The Australian military operation reduced that to 0. Over 170 migrants have already died trying to come to Britain via the Channel. Reforms proposed...
Yeah, and your fucking fans cheer it on every time it happens. Because human life is sacred. Except when it's brown people. Yeah. This is the policy Michael Walker seemed to like. Michael Walker's a wanker, so I don't really care.
This military operation to secure our borders will save migrant lives too. Now, expect fierce resistance from the Tory Labour establishment, claiming that this is impossible. Well, they have no choice but to call it impossible, lest they face the reality of their own failures. But the former Navy commanders who engineered this plan leave no room for doubt. It can be done. It must be done. The former senior members of our armed forces who endorsed this plan confirm this plan is viable and imperative to our national security. This is how we will stop the boats for good. Reform will end the invasion of Britain. Reform will put the British people first. Thank you.
Okay, so he wants to declare war on France. Have you sped him up? I did speed him up, yes. Because they were both droning on, so I sped it up to 1.5. But yeah, that's... Okay, so the reform plan is, firstly, ignore Rupert Lowe and the Restore Party. Fair enough. I think that's a perfectly reasonable part of their plan. Secondly, less reasonable, start a war with France. Let's just start a war with France. Yeah. Insert R&I link here. Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, of course. Cool. Until the clapping started, I assumed the thing was empty. No, there are people in the room. Where is it? We go back to the very beginning. Yeah, there are a hand-picked group of white people. Let's be honest, they're all fucking white people. Zia Yusuf is the most brown person these people have ever interacted with. Yeah. Anyway, I suppose I'll keep you updated with the fascisms, if you want to, as we descend ever further into the morass. Yeah. Do we have anything fun? Just a little quick piece of fun nonsense. Yeah. Has anyone got a funny thing or a cute thing? 255 has usually got some dog videos or something. Oh, dope stick. Straight in. Boom shakalaka. What we got? Stalin wasn't stalling. Okay, let's have a look. By Golden Gate Jubilee Quartet. I genuinely don't know what to expect from this. It could be... Oh, it's an actual thing from the 40s. Okay.
Oh, Stalin wasn't stalling when he told the beast of Berlin that they never rest contented till they had driven him from the land. So we called the Yanks and English and proceeded to extinguish the Führer and his vermin. This is how it all began. Now
That's fucking awesome.
The devil he was reading in the good book one day, how the Lord created Adam to walk the righteous way. And it made the devil jealous. He turned green up to his horns, and he swore by things unholy that he'd make one of his own. So he packed 2 suitcases full of grief and misery, and he caught the midnight special going down in Germany. Then he mixed his lies and hatred with fire and brimstone. Then the devil sat upon it. That's how Adolf was born.
That's a fucking bar. That is a 1940s certified banger of a bar. Fucking amazing. Love it.
Now Adolf got the notion that he was the master race, and he swore he'd bring new order and put mankind in its place. So he set his scheme in motion and was winning everywhere until he up and got the notion for to keep that Russian bear. Well, now Stalin wasn't stalling when he told the beast of Berlin that he'd never rest contented till they had driven him from the land. So he called the Yanks and English and proceeded to extinguish the Führer and his vermin. This is how it all began. Yep, he kicked that noble Russian, but it wasn't very long before Adolf got suspicious that he had done something wrong. 'Cause that bear grabbed the Führer and gave him an awful fight. 17 months he scrapped the Führer, tooth and claw, day and night. Then that bear smacked the Führer with the mighty armored paw, and Adolf broke all records running backwards to Kharkov. Then Goebbels sent a message to the people everywhere that if they couldn't hit the Führer, God don't hit that Russian bear. Well, now Stalin wasn't stalling when he told the beast of...
This is fucking good. Oh my word. I thought this was going to be shit.
Berlin, that he never rest contented till they had driven him from the land. So we called the Yanks and English and proceeded to extinguish the Führer and his vermin. This is how it all began. Then this bear calls on his buddy, the noble fighting Yank, and they set the Führer running with their ships and planes and tanks. Now the Führer's having nightmares, 'cause the Führer knows darn well that the devil's done wrote to welcome on his residence, and well, Stalin wasn't stolen.
That's... Hang on, we're having that bit again. The way he drops hell, he just holds it for an extra second. It's beautiful.
Darn well that the devil's done wrote to welcome on his residence, and well, Stalin wasn't stolen when he told the beast of Berlin that they'd never rest contented till they had driven him from the land. So we called the Yanks and English and proceeded to extinguish the Führer and his vermin. That is how it all began.
Fucking epic. Everyone say thank you. Fuck you, EasyJet Holidays, you cunts. Yeah, everyone say thank you to Dopestick for that suggestion, because that was fucking awesome. I love that. I'm gonna have to check out some more of their shit. Anyway, right. Yes. Where was I? Yeah, I'm going to bed. Because actually, no, I'm not going to. It's still too fucking warm to go to bed. But I am going to send you over to. Oh, pardon me, I did a big burpee. Where are we? We're going over to the surfs on YouTube. Boom shakalaka. I'll be back tomorrow, and I do intend to be on tomorrow, because I'm trying to get back into more regular streamage. Orange Cat video. Send it to me tomorrow and we'll watch the Orange Cat video then. But I've checked out, so there's no point in me pretending to watch anything else. I don't know who that is. I don't know who any of these fucking people are, man. Why is it suggesting stuff that I don't know. Okay, so I have to actually go onto Twitch and check who is streaming. Looks... Oh no, we went in there the other day, didn't we? Fuck it, well, we went to the surfs, so we'll just go to the surfs. Bollocks to it. We'll do surfs on both platforms. Okie dokie, everyone. I will see you all tomorrow and that. Thank you, everyone, for all of your support. And I'll, stay beautiful. You're all fucking awesome. Free Palestine and that. No passing around. Bye.